Welcome to Waves, West Alabama, Voices Echoing Success, the podcast where local voices inspire big impact. Brought to you monthly by the Chamber of Commerce of West Alabama, this is your source for stories of leadership, innovation, and success.
Welcome to the initial episode of West Alabama Voices Echoing Success, a podcast by the Chamber of Commerce of West Alabama. I'm Kyle South, President and CEO of the Chamber. We wanted to bring an opportunity to amplify our local voices through this podcast, strengthen community connections, drive engagement, boost visibility, and support our local economic development, along with strengthening member value through being able to further communicate and celebrate the successes of our local members and businesses. We have a shining example of that with us here today. Someone that's become a friend, someone that also has a story to be told as we celebrate those successes of local businesses and entrepreneurs. But Jheovanny Gomez, owner of Jalapenos Mexican Restaurants, thank you for sharing this opportunity with us. Thank you for serving as our chairman in 2024 and allowing us the opportunity to put things like this podcast in place.
Thank you very much, Kyle. I appreciate you guys. I just appreciate the opportunity to have me here with you today.
Well, it was an honor serving under your leadership in 2024. Can't thank you enough for the guidance that you provided for me, but not only me, the organization as a whole during 2024. And we're not letting you sit idly by and go off to pasture after your year as chairman. We've got plenty of things that we still want to accomplish through you.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I'm not going anywhere. I think I'm staying here. I'm very, thankful for all the things that I learned. I think it goes both ways. I learned a lot, from you and from the chamber as well. So I'm here.
Good deal. That's good to hear. And I'm going to hold you to it. Okay.
Hold me to it.
One of the first things that I wanted to do in taking an opportunity to kind of launch this podcast is back to an earlier point. You are the American dream in a lot of ways. And although coming as a native of Columbia, but the fact that you were able to move here, kind of create your business, have your family grow, and in that kind of become part of the community and an integral part of the community. Let's dive into a little bit of that. You shared a story last year at the annual meeting that I think resonates with everybody, no matter their background history, but a level of success that we all hope to achieve.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody's probably tired of hearing my story, Kyle. I've shared this story many times, but you're going to hear me saying through all this conversation here the word thankful. I'm thankful for the opportunities. I'm thankful for the friendships that I've been able to build for all these years. It's been 25 years doing this now in this community here in Tuscaloosa since I got here. But again, I think I've taken advantage of the American dream, trying to build that American dream that you tell me. And from my early starting, when I came here to study English at the university, and of course, I got a job at a restaurant. Then I learned English. Then I was a cook. I was a dishwasher. Then of course my business partner, who is a great opportunity to honor now. My business partner Wayne, he was the one that gave me the opportunity. He passed away just last November, but he gave me the opportunity to kind of start with him a new place called Jalapenos here in downtown Tuscaloosa. In the year of 2000, a little hole in the wall, and he got the vision. He got the idea to hey, there's no many restaurants here in downtown. And again, we took from there. With only two kitchen guys, myself and somebody else there, 4 employees, and a year later, we wanted to expand because we have no room to grow there in downtown. So here we are. Looking for a location. We opened a restaurant in Northport. That was 2004. We built that restaurant from the ground. And that restaurant now, we call it the big brother of the Jalapenos, because that one kind of helped us, build the
right.
other ones. Then, fast forward to 2014 when we built our restaurant in 5 Points. So here we are now with 4 locations. We had the opportunity to come back to downtown 15 years later, which, I mean, that restaurant, of course, we have the largest tequila bar in the South. And again, we have that great opportunity to serve our community and to be who we are as a business and of course, as a business owner.
No doubt. And a totally different concept downtown with the tequila bar, more of an upscale experience, those kinds of things. You put on your list of goals as chairman last year to get me to become a tequila drinker. I don't know how far we got in that evaluation process there,
well,
but
you did pretty good. I think at the beginning you say no, I don't do tequila. Then few months later, you were doing. Let me just do a little one. Then you end up with one. So we got pretty good. We got pretty good in there.
Well, again, it was a fun time. I was not a tequila drinker. I think I've maybe made that first step in that direction, and so.
Well, look, I have to get. I mean, neither I was, but when you mention going upscale a little bit, I have to get shout out to Justin. I mean, he kind of put Justin is my other business partner and Wayne's son, and again when we had the opportunity to come back to downtown, he kind of took it up himself and be like, okay, let's make something different. Let's make us the biggest and the better. And he's the tequila connoisseur, I tell you. He is,
and a podcast expert as well, right? So part of the transition in this, I want to go back and visit something that kind of led us down the road of these podcasts. As you talk about Justin, and they get to have a lot of fun on a podcast, he and Matt Ray. But kind of the precipice of the chamber coming up with a podcast idea and going down this road was something that goes back to when Jim Page was actually the president and CEO. I was in a former life, had no idea at that point that I would be sitting on the other side of the table in his position. But we had a lot of those conversations about creating a podcast. My initial interest was to do it based on the public policy advocacy piece of what the chamber represents. And to be honest with you, that was my introduction to the chamber here, was through those public policy efforts. And I think it's something we certainly do a good job of. And to that point, you and I got our introduction formally through one of those opportunities as you were dealing with some workforce issues and some state policy, some state statutory limitations were causing you some problems. Can you help me dive into that and kind of your experience through that? And then
absolutely. So to give people, the kind of the background on it after COVID, the whole retail and hospitality industry, went on crisis mode. Because when people came back to work, guess what? The hospitality people, the hospitality workers, they never came back to work. Okay, so we were facing a shortage. When I say crisis, I think it was worse than the 2008 crisis. It was bad. We were in such a big need of employees. So with that, again, kind of putting some context and some background on the issue. At the time, I'm talking about 2 years ago when we were able to change this legislation. If you were an 18-year-old working in a restaurant or any retail, hotel, or whatever, you were not able to serve alcohol, okay? So you had to be 19 years old. And definitely, that was a workforce issue because we have young adults that have been working with us since they were like 15, 16. They were dishwashers. Guess what? They wanted to be waiters. They wanted to wait on tables to make a lot more money.
Yeah, and can I make a quick point too? This was not an earth-shattering idea in that, we're not asking an 18-year-old to be a bartender.
Absolutely.
We're asking them to be able to carry a drink from the bar to the table. And so when we start thinking about, access and being handling and showing the wrong, moral, getting into that moral question of it. But then you go to the grocery store across the street, Publix across the street from your location, and a 14-year-old can actually handle those contents and pass them along to the customer. So it didn't really make a lot of sense from a policy standpoint.
Absolutely. So, and anyway, I started just kind of diving in and doing some research, and what I found out is that all of the states around us, I mean, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, and I started making phone calls, and I mean, I was calling people in Florida, people that in Orange Beach, and they said, "Look, we're losing employees that they're going across the border to Florida. We're losing all these kids going." So anyway, long story short, I was like, how can I make this, me being having the relationships in the chamber, having those connections in there. I told Donnie Jones, everybody call and say, "Donnie, what can we do for that?" First thing he say, let's call Carl South. And he said he's the biggest shot in Montgomery.
Let's not get the line on here now.
If anybody can make it happen, I mean, he will. And I don't know if you remember. I mean, I called you immediately, and I told you what was going on, what was happening with our industry, and immediately made sense to you. And you say, "Hey, Gio, let me figure out what we can do." Hey, guess what? A month later, Carl South. A month later, he had the bill draft, and with a lot of people help on this. The Alabama Retail Association. I mean, of course,
Restaurant
Association.
Yep.
It was a concerted effort, but I mean, to say that from the time that you draft that bill to you passing this bill, I mean, it was 6 months, and I tell you what, I'm still getting letters and emails from people that we impacted across the state,
Yep.
that it made a huge difference to them. So, I mean, again, that's just an example of how the chamber, was so much, such an important role. All the friendships that I made through all these years were so important for us to pass that bill.
Well, and we did it responsibly. There's a training aspect that has to go into place.
Absolutely.
That you were already having to train your employees for those ABC kind of issues and those kinds of things. So I think as a step forward in public policy, it was a obvious thing to me to be able to kind of open up those employment opportunities. And really one of our initiatives right now is youth employment in the state of Alabama. We rank dead last, if not next to last, in youth employment in the state of Alabama, and that's something that we've got to focus on changing.
Definitely something that we got to work on, and something. I mean, we got to put all these kids, we got to put them to work as soon as they come out of high school. We got to give them a path, and we got to give them something to do.
Well, and oftentimes we ingrain those work ethic at an early age, and if you're delaying that start until you're 19, 20, 21 years old because of some outdated statute
policy,
within the state
yeah.
and policy, then I think we're failing our young people.
No doubt about it. Yeah. And obviously, at the end of the day, the community. I mean, the community is the one that is going to suffer.
Yep. No doubt about it. COVID was awful in so many ways, but it did open our eyes to some policy change that I think will help us in a growth mode in the future.
No doubt.
So the next thing I wanted to discuss, I'm sitting here today with a Civic Hall of Fame inductee. His list of civic involvement, we couldn't fit on a page. And I just want to discuss with you the positive impacts on your life through civic engagement, whether that be the Chamber, United Way has been a big part of what you've been involved in, or others. And there is this concern out there since COVID that the level of civic engagement as a whole has kind of leveled off, if not dropped a little bit. And how do we re-engage to make sure that we're building our community for the future?
Yeah. Well, I think my example, I don't know if it will be the best example or not, Kyle, but and I always tell people this, that I do what I do one, because of how grateful I'm from this community. I understand that this community, and I'm a believer that the reason people support my business and the reason people, support myself, my family, is because how involved I'm in the community. I like to give back to my community because I know they're giving me what I have. People have many choices. They can do to it. They can go to any, Mexican restaurant or whatever, but they choose to come to us, and I want to give back. So, that's part of my civic, my civic engagement. My role is because I want to give back. And I know a lot of these. I mean, you mentioned United Way, you mentioned all of these other non-profits or whatever. I love doing that, and that's a way for me to tell people thank you for supporting me. And the other part of it, the other part is, I see it as a way to enrich my business. To bring more people to our door, to promote my business. I think the more I'm out there, the more people see me, the more I network, the more I'm engaged with the community in different roles. I think I'm improving my business, and I'm telling people, because some people that don't know me, they don't know my name, but they know I work at Jalapenos. So it's like I'm carrying a billboard in my back, if you will.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying. And I tell you what,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of opportunity, there's a lot of business and a lot of opportunities that I've been able to take advantage of because I'm there, because I am engaged, and I'm at the whatever event there is, or whatever. So sometimes I see it as a way to keep my business relax. I mean,
Well, and to your point, I think at the end of the day, kind of the thing that always resonates with me is everything we do is built off relationships.
no doubt.
And whether that be political relationships, whether that be relationships in business, whether that be relationships with our constituencies, no matter what that looks like, having solid relationships and building a trust within your community and with your patrons, that goes a long way. And then being able to put a face with that business, in which you do a heck of a good job at being around, being present, being visible, and it speaks volumes by the successes that you've seen.
Well, thank you, Kyle. And I tell you what, some of my best friendships have become from me being engaged. I mean, with the chamber. I mean, some of those friendships are the ones.
Don't mention all of them.
Last forever. Well, I want.
Shane Spiller and people like that.
Anybody's big.
hold
head
off.
bigger.
That's
anyway,
right.
But I mean, this is just an example. I mean, I met you through the chamber and through and I mean, and I know this is a relationship that is gonna last forever. And anyway, I'm grateful for that, and I just I mean, that's a big advantage that you will have when you're engaged in any organization.
Well, I think you've got us hooked, because my wife won't go a full week without fajita gumbo.
Well,
so.
look, you're talking about fajita gumbo, and that's we're creating an addiction out there.
Well, the last point that I wanted to touch on is something that may be a little bit sensitive, as we are here in January, and we've got an administration change at the federal level, a lot of unknowns. Here in Alabama, we all kind of know what the political climate looks like and those kinds of things. But being a native of Columbia, immigration policy is one of those things that's being talked a lot about at the federal level, and how that kind of flows downhill. I think we can have this conversation, and you and I have had this conversation before, without getting into the partisan politics of all of it. And one of the things, going back to those days and having those conversations with Jim about a podcast, was let's focus on the 90% that both sides can agree to, right? Instead of allowing the ends of the political spectrum to dictate policy, the extremes, I guess. That's something, even within the immigration conversation, that I think we need to kind of flush out those extremes and focus on the real issues and problems, with our immigration policy, but also being able to clear a path for folks like you to be able to come here and be successful, and provide for their families without, big brother government kind of standing over and watching you. And we're a country of immigrants. We have to have a healthy immigration policy, and I think we can do that in a healthy way that satisfies both aisles.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, and thank you for giving me the platform, to speak about this. And of course, I mean, it is a sensitive issue for sure for a lot of us. Let me tell you, we have a broken immigration system, and that's not news, to anybody. Everybody knows that. And let me clear the air. I am even though I came, I'm an immigrant. I'm a believer on closed borders. Okay, we had to have borders closed. But at the same time, when I say we have a broken immigration system, I mean, it took me, I can speak about it because I lived it, okay? It took me 18 years by the time I came here with a student visa to become a citizen. It took me 18 years, me and Jheovanny both,
And no telling how
a
much
lawyer
money.
And not thousands of dollars. So I can speak of it,
Yep.
So, I mean, I think that for somebody that wants to come here, that wants to, take advantage of an opportunity, 18 years, that's a heck of a lot of time, That is a heck of a lot of time, a lot of hurdles and a lot of loops and obstacles, that
And in a lot of ways, living in fear every day
No
of
doubt
getting
about
a
it.
speeding ticket.
There's so many people out there. There's millions of people out there that are living in the shadows. You call it. They're living in not only shadows. I mean, they're in between a decision. They're in between. They can leave. They cannot stay here, but they can leave either. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I mean, there has to be a humane way
Yep.
to fix this. Unfortunately, they use the immigration token as they use the immigration issue as a token.
Yep.
In Washington.
On both sides.
On both sides.
Yep.
No doubt about it. They
Yep.
use it in both sides. There's got to be a solution. There's got to be a way to fix it. And again, I mean, hopefully, President-elect, is gonna finally, do something about it. But I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty out there. There's a lot of people, fearing, okay, what's going to happen?
Yeah, and I mean, I think we could all agree that the criminal aspects of some of what has been highlighted, especially in the press, is a portion of that. And like you said, having a process by which everybody can be accounted for, come through that system, not be riddled with huge amounts of debt in order to get to that point, nor the amount of time that it takes in some cases to go through that process would hopefully encourage better behavior through those things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you got, you have if you can tell all of those people that are out there, hey, you got to pay a fine and you have to pay, you got to get in line, to your process. I mean, nobody's going to tell you no.
Yep.
They want to be part of the process. They want to. I mean, you have people here that they only speak English. People
Yep.
that have been here for most of their lives.
Right.
People that was here. I mean, that they were brought here against their will. I mean, when I say against their will, they were here when they were kids.
Yep.
They brought them here, and they don't have nowhere to go back. I mean, this is their country. They're asset to these communities.
I think that's what gets lost too. Your goal was to become a solid tax-paying citizen, right?
Absolutely.
And I would think that that's the goal for the majority.
Absolutely.
Not the minority, and not looking to skirt a system or looking for a handout, but to be a contributing member of society.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's logical for us to focus on those things that both sides of the aisle can agree on within that concept, and use that as a springboard towards policy that can be sustainable long term.
And I mean, you can say it any better. I know that in both sides of the aisle, they agree that there's something has to be done.
Yeah.
There's something has to be
That's
done.
right.
And it's a big opportunity because we need the immigration.
Yeah.
We need immigrants. You talk to, landscaping, of course, hospitality, construction, agriculture, everywhere in the United States. I mean, we need immigrants.
Yep.
I mean, we need immigration here. Of course, we need a good immigration system, but I mean, we need those people.
Yep.
And so, I mean, to say that, hey, we're just gonna ship everybody back to their country. So I don't think that's a
realistic thing.
Absolutely
Again, we have to separate the conversations between those that are truly here for the right reasons, and then the criminal aspects of it.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think that's anything that anybody would argue over.
Absolutely.
And so, one last thing on that topic, how can the chamber become a resource when it comes to those conversations, especially in light of changing policy? Yours and I conversation has been around being kind of that information point. We're not going to be the ones to change that policy at the federal level, but being an information point for those either employers or individuals that may have questions, concerns, and need somebody to advocate on their behalf.
Absolutely. And this is a great point, Kyle. I think just the fact that we're just talking about it right now,
Yep.
We're already helping, okay? We're already doing something. When you say information, I think we become that hub of where people can, other businesses, individuals, if they feel that they can come to us so we can connect points, that we can tell them, hey,
And that's our role, right?
Absolutely. Helping
the
business, yes.
The chamber's role is to be that convener, that point of information, point of contact.
So I think we can be just that right now. There's a lot of uncertainty of what's going to happen. What's it going to look like in the next 6 months? If we can tell people and can just pass this around, hey, come to the chamber, because we might be able to give you some.
We may not be that resource, but
Absolutely.
we may know where that resource lies.
Where they need to go. If you need to contact this person, they might know. They might help you. The information piece, I think the chamber could be so helpful with it.
No doubt. Well, as we close out today, I again want to thank you for your commitment to our organization, not only in 2024 as chairman, but for that long history that you were talking about before. And again, that isn't stopping with the fact that your chairmanship ran out December 31st. We've got a lot of things to work on as a community. And with the relationships that you've built here locally, you're a key asset in those conversations and in kind of moving the community forward in so many positive ways.
Well, thank you, Kyle. I'm a chamber product, okay? Ever since I started my business, and I've been in the chamber for more than a decade now, and ever since, our business is growing, the chamber has been there every step of the way. So I think, again, the reason I'm involved in the chamber is because I can see the benefits to not only personal through the friendships, but through my business. And so I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna keep taking advantage of those. I'm gonna stay engaged, and I love Tuscaloosa. I love this community. I love the chamber. So I'm here for the long run.
Well, thank you for being that shining star. And again, this is a podcast. We're calling it Waves, West Alabama Voices Echoing Success. And we couldn't have had a better example to have on our first episode to share your story. And thank you for being an inspiration and a leader in our community.
Well, thank you, Kyle. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. A lot of guts for y'all to put me the first one here. But anyway, I love to share my story and love to to be that that maybe that trailblaze to a lot of people that say, hey, look, if he can do it, what can we do it?
Alabama One, a partner of West Alabama Chamber, offers a full suite of financial products, including checking and savings accounts, personal loans for home, auto, and recreational vehicles, as well as land and equipment financing. Go to alabama1.org/what's your one to learn more. Equal housing opportunity.
Thank you for joining us on Waves, West Alabama Voices Echoing Success, the official podcast of the Chamber of Commerce of West Alabama. Don't forget to subscribe and tune in next month as we continue to amplify the voices shaping the future of West Alabama. For more stories and updates, visit us online at westalabamachamber.com or follow us on social media. Until next time, keep making waves.